Welcome back to the Chromperfect Beginner Training Series. We are now moving on to Chapter 4 of Section 3, where we continue learning how to work with chromatographic data inside the Analyze program. In the previous chapter, we explored how to navigate chromatogram plots using zooming, scaling, and expansion tools. We also looked at advanced navigation tools, such as synchronized expansion and the expansion map, which allow detailed regions of the chromatogram to be examined while maintaining context within the full run. In this chapter, we will focus on how Chromperfect controls the visual presentation of chromatograms. While the underlying data never changes, the way a chromatogram is displayed can be customized to make interpretation clearer, improve readability, and highlight important analytical information. Most of these display options are controlled through the Plot Properties dialog. To access this, select the Plot menu, or use our top tip from the last video and right-click anywhere on an open chromatogram to bring up the floating menu. The Plot Properties dialog allows the user to modify the visual characteristics of a chromatogram. These settings affect how the chromatogram appears on the screen and in reports, but they do not alter the underlying data file. The Plot Properties dialog is split into multiple tab forms, and we will have a quick look at the most important of these. Before exploring the individual settings, it is important to understand one key control within this dialog. Changes can be applied either to the active chromatogram only or to all chromatograms currently displayed. Applying settings to the active chromatogram allows a specific plot to be customized independently. Applying settings to all chromatograms ensures that multiple plots share the same visual configuration, which is particularly useful when comparing several chromatograms side by side. One of the most commonly used sections of the Plot Properties dialog is the Label tab. The Label tab controls how labels are displayed on the plot. One of the options available here is the ability to display labels for found components only. This option shows labels only for peaks that have been identified as components within a calibration. We will discuss calibrations in detail later in the series, but for now, it is sufficient to understand that this option allows the display to focus only on identified peaks. The Label tab also provides options to display the component name. When enabled, the chromatogram will show the name associated with each identified component. The position of these labels can also be adjusted so that the text appears above the peak, near the peak apex, or in other positions that improve readability. Another useful option is the ability to display the quantity associated with a component. When enabled, a variety of results can be displayed, such as the calculated amount for a component, era, height, etc., can be shown directly on the chromatogram alongside the peak label. Note that only one quantity variable can be shown at a time. These options allow the chromatogram display to provide immediate analytical context when reviewing results. Another important section of the Plot Properties dialog is the Color tab. The Color tab allows the visual appearance of the chromatogram to be customized. The color of the chromatogram trace can be changed, allowing different chromatograms to be easily distinguished when several plots are displayed together. The thickness of the plot line can also be adjusted. Increasing the thickness of the chromatogram trace can improve visibility when presenting results or when displaying chromatograms on large screens. In addition to the chromatogram trace itself, the Color tab allows the color of many other display elements to be modified. This includes elements such as the baseline, integration marks, grid lines, and other graphical components used within the chromatogram display. Customizing these colors can help emphasize important elements or make the chromatogram easier to interpret when multiple plots are present. Another section of the Plot Properties dialog is the Draw tab. The Draw tab controls which graphical elements are visible within the chromatogram display. This includes options related to the appearance of axes, grid lines, peak markers, and other structural components of the plot. These options allow the analyst to simplify the display when necessary, or add additional visual references that help interpret the chromatogram. For example, grid lines can be enabled to make it easier to read retention times or detector response values directly from the plot. Other drawing elements can help highlight peak boundaries or integration regions. If you have watched all the videos in this series, you may remember in Section 1, we discussed how sampling rate is important to correctly set up an analysis and collect the right number of data points to accurately draw the chromatogram. The option for Display Data Points as Dots is a useful tool to check that the sampling rate is correct, as it displays the actual data points collected and allows you to check that a suitable sampling rate has been used. Together, these drawing options allow the chromatogram to be configured in a way that supports clear visual interpretation. The Font tab controls the appearance of text elements used throughout the chromatogram display. This includes labels, annotations, axis text, and other textual information. Within this tab, the user can modify the font style, font size, and other typographic properties used for the chromatogram display. Adjusting font settings can improve readability, especially when chromatograms are displayed in reports or presentations. Another group of tabs that appears within the plot properties are for SEC. SEC stands for Size Exclusion Chromatography. This tab contains specialized options that support SEC workflows and polymer analysis. These advanced capabilities fall outside the scope of the beginner training series, so we will not explore these settings in this chapter. Let's now close the Plot Properties dialog and look at some other options within the Chromperfect Analyze program, which can be useful for changing how the plot looks on screen and in printed reports. Annotations allow the user to place explanatory notes or markers onto the chromatogram display. You can add or edit annotations from the Plot menu or the right-click Quick menu. These can be used to highlight unusual peaks, document observations, or provide additional context for reviewers. Annotations become part of the visual presentation of the chromatogram and can be useful when preparing results for reporting or collaborative review. Another useful feature when reviewing chromatograms is the ability to select individual peaks. This option is available from the Tools menu. Selecting peaks allows specific peaks within the chromatogram to be highlighted directly on the plot by flooding the peak with a specific color. Peaks can be selected individually or in groups. Individual peaks are selected by left mouse clicking to select and right mouse clicking to confirm. Selecting a group of adjacent peaks is done by left-clicking and dragging a box around the peaks and right-clicking to confirm. You can select from 9 peak selection groups and colors. To remove a peak from the selection, select the SEL- option in the dialog and repeat the left-click, right-click process to remove the peak from the selection. As you might have guessed, the colors of each selected peak can be changed in the Plot Properties dialog using the Color tab. Although the peak selection functionality is primarily designed for preparing formatted reports, it is often helpful during analysis to clearly identify particular peaks when reviewing complex chromatograms or comparing multiple runs. Once the chromatogram display has been configured to your preference, these settings can be stored within the method file. By selecting File and then Save Method, you can either update the current method or create a new method based on the display configuration you have chosen. This means that all future runs using that method will automatically display chromatograms using the preferred labels, colors, drawing options, and other visual settings. Saving the method in this way ensures that chromatograms are presented consistently each time data is reviewed or reported. Understanding how to control labels, colors, drawing elements, fonts, and annotations allows the chromatogram display to be tailored to the needs of the analyst while keeping the underlying data unchanged. Congratulations! You have now completed Chapter 4 of Section 3 of the Chromperfect Beginner Training Series. In the next chapter, we will move on to integration fundamentals and begin exploring how Chromperfect identifies peaks within a chromatogram and how integration settings determine the way peaks are detected and measured. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please click the like button, subscribe to our channel, and hit the bell icon so you are updated when we upload new videos. For more information or to reach out to our team, please visit www.chromperfect.com.